Really wild.
I didn't
I mean,
realize how effective commercials were, but then when I think about it, you think about the company or the product that is number one in each field, and it's
Mm.
usually the one with the most commercials, even if it has the shittiest product. Like you can argue
Yeah.
McDonald's has worse hamburgers than any other place, but it has the most commercials, so it's number one.
well, it was
Yeah.
like the VHS versus Beta with like
Betamax, right?
videotapes. Yeah, like they say Beta was just like the better quality, but like VHS was just advertised better.
Yeah.
Yeah, Beta is much better quality. They were using Beta when I was in college to archive commercials and stuff, and
Yeah.
they used it way beyond the home use.
Yeah.
It's just the media saturation. It's not just like news
Propaganda.
media. It's really is, man. It's just wild. It's just so saturated in everything, and it just is what dictates and drives like these strange things and occurrences.
I mean, if you go to the extreme, you talk about Nazi Germany, which is everyone that goes always to the extreme, but like it's not
Yeah,
like the
right.
entire country. Not the entire country was like, let's kill Jews. It was just like, okay, this is what's going on. They say they're
Yeah,
evil. Like you just buy into things, and then on the other extreme, or just a different way, like you're become so distrustful of everything because they so much propaganda that you turn inward and you find this like QAnon thing, and you're like,
Yep.
oh, this must be the real answers because my government keeps lying to me because I know all about that whole propaganda thing, so I'll go here instead.
Yep. That's exactly right, man. And that's what
Yeah.
the QAnon thing is. There's a really good word that I hadn't heard before, but it's perfect in the context of QAnon and exactly what you described, which is syncretic, like syncretic,
Wait, what does it say?
and
The
it
word?
means syncretic,
Okay.
and it means like a sort of like organic blending of just vaguely associated ideas into something that appears to be like a cohesive ideology. So like the QAnon thing is highly syncretic, right? It like takes, there's like some weird, like anti, Jew stuff in there. There's like some weird, like old, like, elders of Zion tropes in there. There's like a
Yeah.
bunch of like global world order crap in there, and it's just all blended together into this like weird greater than the sum of its parts, just against the system because the system is against all of us. It's so weird.
Jay, are you doing this as an organic opening, or are you just gonna wait on us?
Yeah, I started recording it a couple
Okay,
minutes ago.
cool. The what was I gonna say? That's fine. Like it's also like Joe Rogan, forgetting his show. I think he's. You guys watch Joe Rogan at all? His stand up.
Not really.
Okay.
Very very
I think
little
he's
bit of it.
Familiar with
right.
his body of work.
Yeah, everyone's familiar with his show. And I don't want to talk about like I'm not. We don't need to talk about his like what he does on the show, whatever like that. But Jay, have you listened to his stand up?
Very little bit of it. Maybe like one 10-minute set or something like that.
Okay, so I only bring it up because he I think he's pretty funny and like his actual stand up. And he has this bit about basically just like how he's a moron and he basically like he's like I just listen like I have this thing I do where I just listen to what smart people say. Like smart people figure stuff out and I listen to them and I just think it's a very funny because that's kind of what we all do. I don't do my own research. Like I've not independently confirmed that North Dakota exists. But enough smart people have written it down in enough places. They tell me North Dakota exists. I just go with it. We don't investigate anything. So like it's not like they trust the QAnon because the QAnon says they're investigating and you don't want to believe the mainstream stuff. At the same time, like our government tells us a lot of things that I'm never going to independently verify. They had the whole thing about Trump and Russiagate. I don't independently. I'm not talking to people in Russia or going through the papers. I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything really there? I don't really know. You kind of just listen to people that you respect. Like I was talking to a neighbor who said the stuff with Trump contesting the election sounds insane. But if let's just say you were in a room and Barack Obama, someone you respect, just explained it all to you. He was 100% said the election was rigged. He explained to you in his own way. You might be like, okay, maybe it was stolen because I trust Barack Obama.
Yeah.
the whole once you get misinformation and just have like we know how long of a trusted source of information, it's all fucking bananas.
Well, yeah, everything is pretty much contested at this point.
Yeah.
It's like it's post facts. It's like
Right.
post reality. It's like not even surreal. It's like post real because I mean, there's literally the dude in the White House is literally just like, no, I didn't lose. You lost. And then all his, people are like, yeah, they lost. And then he just says like, yeah, because you cheated, right? And all his like followers like, yes, you cheated, right? It's just like, what the hell is reality anymore? And then you begin to think, am I the one who is insane? Like, do I have a hugely weird blind spot? But they never think that, like their ideology prevents that sort of like just self-criticism.
Basically,
it's so odd.
Our society is now we're all basically in Shaggy's "It Wasn't Me" video. We're either basically thinking that he is just banging her on the floor, or he said it wasn't him that was just banging on the floor,
Yeah.
and we have to accept this new reality because maybe it wasn't him. He said it wasn't. He seems pretty confident that I didn't just see him banging that girl on the floor. So what the hell? Maybe it wasn't him. That's what we're living. We're living in that goddamn music video.
That's
I've actually never seen the music video. I don't know if he actually bangs her on the floor, but
it's caught on video camera. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're living in. Like it's just like you've seen the reality, it's not true, but you don't know it's not true, and that's what it is. There's no like there was 1 million people at my inauguration. There weren't. Well, I say there were, and it doesn't matter what the facts are. We don't have a central. We need a referee for our society who just says these are the facts.
There's always just such a weird point of view on everything. We were talking about Jeffrey Toobin last week about how he got fired for masturbating in front of his coworkers.
No, he got fired this week, actually. He wasn't fired yet. He was suspended. Now he's been fired, which is Peter, do you think he should have been fired for masturbating in front of his coworkers?
I mean, I'm not entirely clear on the story. Based on my interpretation of the story, it's probably a little bit extreme to fire him, to terminate him. But that's my take, and I wouldn't terminate, a woman or any person, any gender of, for that reason. If it's as I understood it to have occurred.
Just to be clear, if you work with Peter and you're a woman, you are allowed to masturbate on Zoom. It's totally fine. He does not. Cool. No judgment. Feel free to masturbate on the Zoom videos. Okay, just want to make sure everyone's clear about that.
I'm glad. Thank you for making it clear.
What Jay and I didn't understand was usually when you're on Zoom, we've all been on Zoom, right? And it's usually like middle of your body, middle of your chest, stomach, up to the face. I don't know. It's hard to really get your full body in that Zoom. Where was he standing?
Maybe he was like 20 feet away or something. Who knows?
Right. Maybe he has a really big room. He's like, I didn't think that you could see 40 feet into the room, and that's what I was doing. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I think there needs to be an expose. Our country needs to talk about this nonstop until Toobin loses his goddamn mind.
Maybe he angled maybe he had a laptop and he angled it down thinking it was going to like show his desk, but it was just aimed right at his crotch.
So the way I understand it is that he kind of like he thought that like basically when he turned his laptop down, like the screen goes dark and like it stops working, like it stops transmitting. But he didn't want to like continue. He didn't want to like totally disconnect because he wanted to hear what was going on or something. I'm not entirely sure. So he like pulled it down, thinking that kills the video feed to the Zoom. It doesn't. The camera keeps going unless you like shut it down. And I think that is the reason it was in that downward position where the dude was, doing
that makes it. That makes a little more sense to me because like that, like why he thought he was off screen, like
he's a smart dude. Like he's like it's not he's not that dumb to like have like really had a big oversight. I mean, what did happen is kind of dumb, but like you can understand that it's a mistake like a smart person could make. You know what I mean?
I'm still surprised you wouldn't fire somebody for masturbating during a work meeting.
Well, I just have a very open work plan, Jay. very, very open to all work styles.
So Scott Adams tweeted, "I strongly disagree with this firing. I don't want to live in that world," which I thought was a little weird.
Don't Zoom with Scott Adams. Like you know what you're gonna get.
So I replied and I wrote, "Totally agree. Last time I was masturbating in front of my coworkers at work, they said, 'Oh my God, what are you doing?' And I said, 'It's a natural human function and I'm lowering my risk of prostate cancer. What are you, a libtard snowflake?' And they said, 'Good point. Carry on.'"
Do you think Lou?
What happened? Your audio cut out.
Oh, you think Louis C.K. basically saw all this and is like, yeah, I wasn't wrong.
Well, he did get fired, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think Toobin was pulling a Toobin during his like firing? They're like, listen, Jeff, this just violates company policy. Are you rubbing it out right now? Turn off your video.
I mean,
so let me ask you guys.
He had said.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I wish he had just said, "Hey, I've done this so many times. I just thought it was acceptable at this point. Now you finally. This is the one time you fire me for it." Like I wish it was an ongoing practice. Like it was just something that he just thought was like a totally like it's just like it's Jeff. He's allowed to do it at meetings. He's a big player here and he's allowed to do that. Okay, what were you asking?
He should have Costanza'd it. He should have just been like, "What is this frowned upon?" Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, I guys, you could have fooled me. I've been doing this for 20 years.
If I had known, I never would have done this.
I've been doing this at in-person meetings for God's sake. No one's ever said a thing. Like he should have just leaned into it, like really, really owned it. No, what I was going to ask is, I'm fortunate in that I don't have to do a lot of like too many Zoom meetings daily, thank God, or I'd blow my brains out. But like when I've had to like do them and put on like a suit and stuff, I have never worn pants, like ever.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys wear pants when you're, you might be wearing pants because it's cold, but like ordinarily, if you're wearing shorts or boxers or underwear and you have to get, nice up top, do you ever wear pants as well?
First of all, I've worn pants maybe twice since the pandemic hit. I also, just to be honest, I don't do a lot of Zoom calls, so.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple interviews. Like half the time, I put on the full suit pants just to kind of get in the mode. Other times, I say fuck it and I just keep my pajama bottoms on.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like you don't like maybe what's going wrong with these interviews is you're not being bold enough to like whack it in front of them?
I mean, it's something I haven't tried, and I don't have a new job yet, so we haven't eliminated that option, is what I'm saying.
Maybe they want a confident leader.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys ever done like revealed like your worst interviews? Either as the interviewer or interviewee.
So, I don't really have any great story. My wife had a story, which it's not a big deal to share. She was working at a law firm, and someone came to interview, and like the woman basically goes, my wife's like, "Oh, what kind of law?" She was like a law student. "What do you want to do?" And the woman was like, "Oh, I really want to get involved in tennis law." And my wife was like, "I'm sorry, what?" "Yeah, I want to focus on tennis." She's like, "You want to play tennis?" "No, like I want to be involved like as a lawyer that specializes in tennis." "Okay, that's great. That's whatever." After the woman, she's like,
"Oh my God."
And the woman like had like a good credentials and everything like that.
Yeah.
After the interview, like I guess the internal recruiters in charge of setting up all these interviews, she calls my wife and she's like, "Hey, what do you think of that law student?" My wife's like, "Yeah, not so." And the woman just jumps in. "That was one of the worst people I've ever interviewed." She's like, I don't understand."
Oh my God. Oh my God.
When you started saying that story, I thought you were going to say she was like mispronouncing like some legal term that sounded kind of like tennis.
Oh, like tenisilo.
Yeah, that would have been better than what she actually meant to say.
God.
Like, just like tennis. Like I was like, what the fuck are you talking? You want to work for Wimbledon? I don't like. There's no like figuring out whether a call is out is not fucking. Yeah. So
Oh
that was.
my God. That is.
I personally don't like. I've bombed interviews, but nothing really. No good stories. What about you guys?
Well, I actually worked with somebody who did not know anything after years and years and years of the job, like asking me like day one questions, and she had a interview for some other department within the company, and they asked her like a normal question, but since she didn't really know anything, her strategy was just to say, "Come on, I've been here so long. Are you really going to ask me that?" And it worked, and and she got the job, and she's been promoted since she got the job. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, at a certain point, people just assume you know stuff. Like
Yeah,
Peter, you would
yeah.
never interview someone and test if they could read.
No, I wouldn't.
I've said it before on
Yeah.
the show that at my last job, they hired somebody who never used a mouse before. And
So, sorry, go ahead.
well, I just guess that's one of those things you assume people know, and that was not the case with this person.
I didn't know you weren't allowed to pee on yourself at work. I didn't know there was a thing called a bathroom. I'm sorry, I didn't know that. But now that I know, what Peter? What's your story?
I have a story, but what Jay said reminded me of something that happened with the secretary I was once working with. So I was like traveling, and right before I left, I was like, hey, I'm gonna ask you to do me a favor, bill it as overtime, whatever. But at like 7:15, I need you to like, go online, like send me this thing, like just send me this thing, access it here, send it to me, it's just a file. And she's like, okay, no problem. So I leave, I get to where I'm going. I check my email, nothing. 7:15, 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30, nothing. And I needed something like for a deposition the next morning, like, and I needed it like that time. So I had to go somewhere else, like to a FedEx Kinko's, like turn on the computer, log in, do like, 90 minutes of nonsense in the network just to get this file, to get it to myself, in a way that it would be usable. I get back to the office and I'm like, hey, call her Judy. Hey Judy, so like what happened to the file? Like it was like I was relying on you. I thought you said, like, and she billed the time, by the way. She billed like 4 hours overtime that
Okay.
exact day. I'm like, what happened? And she's like, oh well, Peter, I'm so sorry. Once I got home, I brought my laptop home and I opened it up and I couldn't find the E. And I was like, what? I was like, I was seriously just completely flummoxed. I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, the E, I couldn't find the E. I asked, my husband and he couldn't find the E either. So I tried for hours. I'm like, could you show me on your computer what you think the E is? And she points to the Microsoft Internet Explorer icon.
But if she knew where it is, why couldn't she find it?
Because I guess when she took her laptop home and opened the thing, it's a different resolution. So like the icons are somewhat shuffled, and she just could not locate it. She just could not find it.
She couldn't find the letter. I'm not even following this. She couldn't find the letter E, or what was she trying to find?
The Internet Explorer logo is an E.
Oh,
the icon.
Okay.
She literally couldn't find, like, she couldn't even open her internet browser because the icon for the browser was not like readily apparent to her. And she doesn't even call it a browser. She just calls it the E.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just like you were talking to someone that's stupid or just like, it's hard to even make, like, you're like, oh, okay, you couldn't find the, and computer tasted weird. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, I was trying to eat it.
I don't know if I've told
really
I don't know if I've told this one on the show before, but we have a senior manager and we got she left her laptop at home one day. And so she comes in, we have a docking station where you plug the laptop into the docking station and it pulls it up on your monitor. She comes over to my coworker with the docking station and she goes, I left my laptop at home. Can I use this to work? So she didn't even know what a computer was.
Oh my God.
She just thought, I'll just use this instead.
You, you should have handed her a stapler at that point and said, just like, no, use this.
This is a senior manager too.
He's a
Senior manager.
I cannot figure out, Jay, why you hate your job.
So, and then there was another time they gave us these new webcams and headsets. And so there's the headset, again, has a docking station. So I go into this lady's office, same lady, and she's trying to balance the docking station for the headset on top of her monitor because she thinks that is the webcam.
You really can't assume a level of intelligence.
And she makes a lot more money than me. It's so depressing.
Maybe you should dumb it down at work, Jamie. Maybe that's the key to your success there.
I mean, I might have to. These kind of people are like getting promoted and everything, and it's like I'm just sitting here with my MBA and CPA, and I can't move up, can't get a new job. It's unbelievable.
It really is. Peter, do you have anyone you work with or you had worked with, or you're like, this person is a complete fucking retard?
Wow.
How are they doing well? Like, have you had that?
Peter, are you there?
Oh, Peter,
you're asking. Oh, I didn't
yeah.
know.
Sorry, Peter. Yeah, I asked if have you worked with anyone like that? Like just a
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I think if we're being like honest with each other, in any given office, probably about like 40%, maybe 50% of the workforce is like totally unnecessary, just completely like superfluous, like busybody people.
Mm-hmm.
It just, like it's just kind of, this is the way the system works. The system has been working for a long time. The people on top make enough money. So like, all you fools, just like, whatever, like have jobs. Here you go. But looking through my Rolodex of characters, there were a lot of people like that. But the ones who I think a class of people like that, who the commonality among this particular person I'm thinking about is the person who cares more about sort of the appearance of like substantively contributing and being like meaningful than they do about actually like substantively contributing or being meaningful in their work. Like,
hey, Peter, just before you do this, are you just going to call out one particular ethnicity?
No. Goodness me. Yeah, no, it's just like a type of person. So I guess the person I'm thinking about now is in my last job, and I think this person may have even already made a cameo before, but it was this like administrative assistant whose entire job basically was like spying on a group of like 50 people for her boss, just literally walking around like poking her head at, just very, very strange relationship, and contributing pretty much actually nothing, and basically making herself like the enemy of all these people who reported up to this one boss, So in some ways it was like actively hostile. But yeah, I just think so much of office work is totally just make work bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And we all suffer for it. More meetings and more like contrived nonsense for just to like pass the time.
I had one yesterday. This lady contacts me and she's like, we have to adjust this invoice. So I'm giving you a negative pricing exception to change the invoice from $45,000 to $49,000. And I had to explain that when you take away a number from a number, it gets lower, it doesn't increase. And that I need a positive exception to make it go from 45 to 49. I actually had to write this out and send it to somebody who is a level higher than me.
Wow. Jay, why can't, I mean, not that you want to, like, I know you don't like your job as it is, but why aren't you the one, like, obviously, you seem like a bright guy, Jay. Why aren't you promoted there?
Maybe I'm a threat, and they want dummies on their level because maybe they're worried about me, like, taking over their job. I don't know. That's the only thing I could think, because these complete idiot. I could go on and on about stories like that. I had one lady who I had to send back her request 5 different times because she couldn't figure out how to do a $5,000 adjustment. It's like, and this person's an AVP.
It seems like you'd be
Wow.
more competent than most people. Not everyone there, but a decent amount of people that seem to be above you.
Honestly, if you took the 3 people on my level and switched us with the VP level people in our department, the department would run so much better.
Have you like applied for higher level jobs, or like seen any openings or anything within the organization that look appealing?
No, like everybody in my department at a higher level has been there for like 20 years. They basically just got
locked
in,
out that they're just like boxing out for the most part,
and just stumbled upwards. Like, well, she's been here for 15 years. She must be due for a promotion, and like, even though this person doesn't even know what a computer is, but they've been here for 15 years. So.
It's so funny that sort of style of promoting people and such, for the most part, it's pretty much like ended for everyone like age like 50 and under.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like 45 and under, so 50, 45 and under, you're basically never going to get to sort of accidentally like stumble upwards into like a promotion. It's like all of a sudden they just declared like the Lord of the Flies for all of you people.
This is
like,
why
and from now on, you are the first generation millennials and millennial adjacent, like to have a significantly more difficult life than us.
Well, this is why I'm trying to apply to companies with less than 200 employees, because I want to be that guy now. I figure I put in my dues. I want to get in and just get promoted as the company grows. Like maybe the accounting department has 2 people and then revenue doubles next year and they need 3 new people and all of a sudden I'm a manager and they hire 3 people below me. I want to be that guy now.
Is it weird also, like our generation, and I know everything has changed, but like in the older generation, you had to be able to stand in line at a factory and go like, I do this with my hands every day. I click this, I click this, I click this. And my wife doesn't have to work. We have a nice middle class life. Kids go to college. I'm going to pay for college. Everything's good. Now they're like, yeah, you need to learn how to build the computer code. And also, if you could just do everything. You have to like learn the most advanced shit just to like get by.
Yeah, the amount of things they want for each job now is insane. It's absolutely insane.
It's really, really strange, and it kind of breaks apart. Like it makes like the class differences much more stark than they've ever been, right? Like you're either college educated and like then some and then some and then some and then some, or everybody else.
Right.
And even in that group, the college educated and then some, et cetera, like even in that group, there's like fierce, constant like competition, and there's no your situation is always precarious. Like you're not like stacking millions in the bank, like unless you get super duper lucky. You're just sort of competing like relentlessly.
It's funny though. Also, so everyone has to get all these degrees and like all these skills and all that, and they always have these people who like, you go to college, you're $150,000 in debt, and like shitty. You're only making like $10 an hour because you got a job at like a bookstore. And they always have these articles, and in the comment section, there's always one guy that's like, around me, plumbers get paid about $200 an hour. So what the fuck are these people doing?
Mm-hmm.
And you're always like, you're like, yeah, that's always a good point.
You want a good laugh? My new manager, they switch managers for me, has a high school diploma.
You're like, oh, where'd you go to college? Oh, I'm hoping to get in one day. Sorry, what?
He's like, actually, I just got my GED, but baby steps.
He's like 4 promotion levels above me. This is great.
You only went to high school? Well, 3 credits short, that is. But yeah, only high school.
So, in 2020, this year, millennials, like people and like, plus minus a year. So if you're born in 79 to whatever, 93 or 90, I think 93, I'll use that definition. They are about 50% of the entire American workforce, right? What percentage of American wealth do you think that this group of people possess?
So age 23 to 41.
41, yeah.
A 20-year span. You say they're 50% of the workforce?
Yeah, right now they're 50% of the workforce. So what overall is their wealth, like share of the American, wealth?
12.
Since you're asking the question, it's going to be like really low. It's going to be like 10%, something like that.
Yeah, I'm
right?
going to go 12.
What do you think, Mark?
I'm gonna say 15%.
Okay. Jay?
12.
4.5%.
Hmm.
Wait, what?
Yeah. You can look it up.
That?
I'm telling you,
How is that fucking?
4.5%.
Well, I mean, I
dude.
get it. The CEO of my company got $15 million last year. They had record growth for 44 straight quarters in a row, and they gave me a 1.5% raise. So I see it firsthand.
That's freaking insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it's funny because even that 4.5% of the wealth within the millennial class is supremely unevenly distributed, right? So, like, if you like of that 4.5% total, like most of that wealth is concentrated at the very top. So this is millennials who have more than, I think, like $5 million a year in income.
And they're all
Like something like 70% or something of all millennial wealth is like there.
and it's all like TikTok influencers and like Twitch
And-
streamers, like
And young asshole
Yeah,
investment bankers.
Tech bros and finance guys and you know, and people who just, you know, like legacy wealth, old money just moving, slowly oozing from like the previous generation to this one. But it's hard to have these discussions and stuff like about politics when your leaders are literally like even older than baby boomers. Like Nancy Pelosi, the freaking Speaker of the House, 80-year-old, 100-millionaire woman. Like she's like she's got like boomer kids.
mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
what the hell? Like, what's going on, guys? You know?
This has been an organic opening.
Want to play the music? Okay, maybe we can move on. Maybe it could be less depressing. Hang on, play the music. Then I got a. Actually, Peter, if you don't mind, Peter's a lawyer. Do you mind if I have a legal question for you?
Sure.
Okay, play the music, Jay, and then the opening music, and I'll hit him with a legal question.
Hello, baby. Hello, nasty. Hello there. Hello. I say hello. Hello, friend. Well, hello, little girl. Hello, my treacherous friends. Hello, operator. The beginning of everything. Welcome back, my friends. It's showtime.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Brink of Sanity, episode 358, part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network at bigheadsmedia.com. I am Jay, and with me is Marc and Peter. How you guys doing?
Good.
Great.
Peter, so my legal question for you. So, like, there's something called, like, mitigating circumstances, right? Like, if you do something, a crime, but you did something to maybe mitigate it, the law will, like, lower penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, and I don't know that criminal law maybe is your expertise, but let's just say, like, I don't know, someone's murdered. If you, I guess, is it mitigating? Could you reduce the sentence if the person spent a lot of time researching time travel after this woman's death in order to hopes of reversing a horrible mistake that happened? Would that be helpful?
You have to make the other party whole. That's mitigating. So you'd have to actually
Oregon
figure it
man,
out.
29. He's now serving life for. I think he should have they should have reduced the sentence. But his 27-year-old Russian bride. There was some kind of love triangle. She died, and afterwards they found him to be a suspect, and they found he was doing a lot of research on time travel, including looking up articles, finding people online. He apparently through the app WhatsApp, he contacted a bunch of people. He was looking for he was telling everyone about his best friend who happened to commit who needed to go back in time to reverse a horrible mistake that happened with someone dying. And so he even got so desperate that he was messaging these strangers that he was willing to trade his soul if they could tell him more about time travel.
Well,
Whoa.
he tried.
Yeah. He said he was trying to find a spell. So not even like the mechanics of it, but the spell that would help him go back in time. I find it surprising that it's great that he wanted to go back in time and reverse this thing. But like that up to this, like he thought time travel was possible, but up to this point he wasn't that interested in doing it.
He just needed a good reason, you know.
He did a deep. So they went through his internet history. They found all this. They also more. So also the woman. I guess he was involved romantically. He was like in a love triangle. One of the women said, "You need to do something about this other woman. Like you have to get her out of your life." And I guess like allegedly, I mean, he's been convicted of murdering her. But he was seen at an ATM taking money out of her account, like right after she was murdered. He withdrew $800 from her account. What do you think he did? Like, this woman's killed. He kills her, basically. He's pretty distraught over killing this woman. So distraught that he wants to figure out how to go back in time.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think he did with the $800 that he took out of her bank account?
Spell books.
What do you think, Jay?
Spell books.
Spellbook. Okay, that's one. Peter, what's your idea? What do you think he did?
Strip clubs.
Okay, so he took the $800. He's really distraught about her death. He made a car insurance payment, went shopping at Walmart for Star Wars themed Legos, and bought some candy bars and cigars.
That does not look good.
Jay, I think the reality was right in between your prediction and mine.
Yeah.
It's like right in the middle.
I'm gonna say when you have your defense.
I've just murdered my lover, but I need to get those Star Wars Legos.
Yeah, I'm gonna say when you take the stand, that's not gonna look good.
Yeah, that might not work out. I hope he sorted out the time travel spell soon because it's not looking good for this guy.
I mean, maybe he wanted the time travel to take back his Lego purchase. Maybe he's okay with the murder, but he thought the Lego purchase was a little overboard.
Do you think he breaks out the Legos and he's like, "Look, I put it together all myself. It looks like a starship."
Oh my god!
Apparently, the show 48 Hours did a special on him. I just found this energy. I just love the idea of this. Like, I'm going to go back in time to fix my mistake. Jay, have you ever thought about looking up a spell for time travel to no longer take the CPA?
You know, I didn't even think that time travel involves spells, but that just opened a whole new door of possibilities.
I would love the idea if he was like, he went to like Home Depot, picked up some stuff, and was trying to make like a time travel machine. That'd be even better.
What was that movie? It's not Batteries Not Included, but there was a like kind of an indie movie about time travel not that long ago that was really good. But it has those two brothers, the Duplass brothers. One of them is in it.
I know the brothers, but I might know who you're talking about, but I don't know the movie.
It'll come to you, but there's basically the premise is this one guy is like insisting that he's going to build a time machine, but he's kind of the town like dumbass, like he's never done anything. Oh, safety not guaranteed. That's it. He's never like done anything right or whatever, but he seems weirdly smart, and it's unclear whether he's actually building a time machine, and it just follows, his story and some people who are his friends as it goes along. I recommend it. It's a good movie if you like that kind of thing.
Did you ever hear the? Do you hear the time? Ever hear the? I think I've talked about it on this show, but have you ever heard the time travel theory with Donald Trump?
No.
Mm-mm.
So Tesla, at the end of his life, he was apparently like kind of losing it. But he claimed he was working on a time travel machine. And after Tesla died, do you know who took over his work? I'm guessing you don't know.
Trump's dad, right?
What do you say?
Trump's dad?
Trump's grandfather.
Grandfather, okay.
Yeah, it would have been Grandpa.
Grandpa, who apparently was a very smart person, had like a PhD. Like, he took over the work. And then there's like this whole theory that Trump is a time traveler from like the late 1900s. There's a whole connection basically. And there's some book basically where like there's a character that's named I think the character is named Baron Trump, or not Baron Trump. I forget, like it's very similar. Like there's like a lot of like weird coincidences in the book. Like this Trump character lives in the middle of Manhattan on like Madison Avenue or whatever, like Broadway. There's a lot of like random similarities between the book and like Trump and like. And then like they like, there's a whole. I mean, just like you can go down the internet thing of like QAnon. There's some. I think it's more joking, but kind of a belief that like Trump is a time traveler. If you look it up, there's a whole theory behind it.
Interesting. Each generation of Trump really, it's almost like Multiplicity, Michael Keaton movie, where like each clone of him is just like dumber and dumber and more terrible. That's how it is with like the Trump lineage. It's like the grandpa was actually accomplished, intelligent, had some advanced degree. Trump's dad was a complete like piece of shit Nazi, got arrested at a Klan rally, awful person, like awful, built an awful legacy. Obviously gave us Donald Trump, who's a total shithead, but is even like less polished and less competent in every possible way. And really is a serial loser who had, declared bankruptcy 4 times. And then when you look at his progeny, like Jesus Christ, like Don Jr., like these guys, like it's like family's been cursed or something. Like Grandpa Trump, like must have run into a gypsy who pulled like a button off his jacket and like cursed them, because it just gets worse and worse. Like, right. I mean, Don Trump Jr.'s kids must be like amoebas or something. Well, like
Trump's dad, who was a total asshole and racist, he at least made money. He was still competent. Yeah, he was very successful with the shit he was doing. Trump is just like, give me all the money. I'm going to build a brand that's as bankrupt as possible. But he's a good PR man. I don't know.
I don't know if you guys know this, but in the broader sort of like legal business world, it's been and like has always been kind of an open secret that like the Donald Trump enterprise is basically just a big money laundering front, right? Like he ran out of money a long time ago, multiple bankruptcies. He just had the name. That was literally it. And, he'd attach his name to all these random, buildings. Like there was no theme to them, right? It was just like, okay, this guy wants to build something and put Trump on it. Like, fine. This guy wants to like build something, put Trump. Sure. Like whatever. Like, here's my fee, blah, blah, blah. And me and my family get access all the time, or we get a house, apartment here, whatever. But it was extensively used and widely understood to be used as just a very broad global money laundering scheme. He kind of looked the other way and let like these people just spend, $500,000 per like sink faucet, and everyone sort of accepted it. And it was just kind of like a harmless, weird thing that just kind of happened and didn't even warrant like federal prosecution. So that's how this dude even survived until NBC swooped in and turned him into a household, celebrity again, which is all he ever cared about, right? Like being famous, being approved by the types of people his dad was, that like his dad hated him. So he seeks that approval from all of us.
Well, 2 things. Like I remember when he became president and he talked about how all these world leaders were congratulating him, as if that's just not part. Like everyone knows you become president, all these world leaders would congratulate you. He was just like amazed they were all calling him.
Yeah.
Like just a complete like fucking retard. Like, the president of Israel called me. Yeah. We give him a lot of money. They call you. That's how it works.
Took me here in a helicopter,
Yeah, and like everything was about like everyone had to like compliment the shit out of him to get him to do anything. Yeah. Well, the other thing I was gonna say is he thrives on his favorite part of being president. My guess is his rallies. He fucking loves his rallies. He's gonna do more apparently like soon, even though he's not even running anymore. I wonder if he's going to become like some kind of mega church kind of like, not officially, like, cause obviously he's not going to be like a priest, but like, but some kind of that kind of thing where he's just going to hold lots of rallies going forward.
Just sort of, he's got his, media start partly in wrestling. Like it's just performance BS. Like that's what he loved. I mean, he like tackled Vince McMahon or something.
Yeah.
He was really into that. He loves the spectacle, even though he wouldn't piss on any of these clowns at his rallies if they, to put them out if they were on fire. Like he wouldn't even want to have a 10-second conversation with any of them, but the idea of them conceptually as like this adoring like base who are just rubes who he can whip up, kind of like people watching WrestleMania.
Jay, Peter voted for Trump though. Like I know he's saying all this stuff, but he made it off the air that he voted for Trump.
Well, MAGA guys.
I don't know why he's saying this.
Yeah, I mean, don't blow my cover. It's so wild.
So not to be too much politics there. I have a question. I found it. I thought this was interesting. There's like, do you think life sucks? I mean, like how your guys' your lives, like lives are fine, lives are okay. I have 6 ways your life could be worse. Let me know which one you think is the worst.
Okay.
There's 6 extremely unfortunate allergies to have.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know any of these allergies were possible, but apparently they are. The first allergy is you apparently can be allergic to water.
What?
So far, I'm going to put that as number 1.
Yeah, likewise.
BBC detailed the story of this woman, Rachel Warwick, in 2016. The woman, unable to even sweat without developing red welts on her skin. She's one of the few people in the world known to have something called aquagenic urticaria. Though, basically, though her body doesn't overreact to the water stored inside her cells, skin contact with any outside source of water, no matter the temperature or how distilled it is, can cause intensely painful and itchy sensation that lasts for hours.
She must be the smelliest person on planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Scientists don't know much about why or how the condition happens, though it's known to affect women more than men, and symptoms tend to emerge in puberty. So, by the way, women, you have to deal with childbirth, and apparently a certain number of you are allergic to fucking water.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so far, I don't know if you can top that one.
Yeah.
Will it get worse? Let's find out.
I can't imagine. Allergic to air?
The next one, Jay, you like going to concerts?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not going to like this one. There's a certain amount of people who are allergic to vibrations. They develop hives after experiencing vibrations on their skin. Aside from hives, suffers of vibratory urticaria. I guess this word is coming up a lot that I can't pronounce. Can experiencing flushing, headaches, and a metallic taste in the mouth following exposure. Though these symptoms only last for up to an hour, people can experience multiple episodes a day. Triggers can include rubbing a towel on your skin, riding a bike, or even clapping your hands.
So there's no bus riding in that person's life at all.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is an inherited mutation.
Or flying.
So apparently, this is an inherited mutation. So you have to tell hey, I know we're gonna get married, we're gonna have kids. I'm gonna pass down vibration allergy to our kids, basically.
That's really bad, but I'm gonna go with water still.
Water's pretty bad. Okay, let's see what comes next.
Same.
The next one, I guess this again is the water one. Probably might be the worst one. The next one is the cold.
I feel like you should have ended with the water.
Yeah, I guess so. A 37-year-old man recently died from I can't pronounce any words.
Anaphylactic.
Anaphylaxis. He stepped out of his hot shower. Doctors believe the episode was triggered by his sudden exposure to cold air in the bathroom, a severe version of the hives he had begun experiencing when he moved to Chile, Colorado, from tropical Micronesia. I feel like you might want to just stay in Micronesia if you're. Then again, you probably don't know you're allergic to cold weather if you're in Micronesia.
Yeah.
True.
Passed down also. Let's see what it gets any worse. The next one, it's too bad Bri is not on the show because the next one is an allergy to meat. And Bri thinks meat is going to be outlawed soon.
Oh, no.
Basically, it's an allergy to sugar found in the muscles of most mammals that end up basically in red meat. And let me see the.
Out of all of them, that one's the easiest to avoid, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Sunlight, known as the solar allergy. People with this condition develop distinct red welts within minutes of exposure to the sun, regardless of the outside temperature. This is in contrast to a heat rash, a commonly misattributed condition. Other kinds of basically tends to involve an overreaction of certain immune cells. Blah blah blah.
They're just white people.
The sun one would kind of suck also.
Yeah, that's probably the second least bad though out of all of them, because at least that's another one where you can kind of avoid.
This next one you can avoid, but kind of sucks to avoid. Allergy to sex.
Okay.
People develop an overreaction to semen, known as semen allergy. The culprit is likely due to the proteins in the semen, not the sperm themselves. The condition can be managed though by the use of a condom.
All right. That sounds like some pro-condom propaganda to me, but all right, sure.
But in one case study, the doctors did seem to desensitize the woman's reaction by first exposing her vagina to her partner's semen, then prescribing a regular dose of sex to the couple every 48 hours.
That sounds like a scam.
That sounds like the
Scam.
husband's just like, doctor, this is $1,000. Fucking just tell her this.
Yeah, my wife won't sleep with me anymore. Do something about it.
Yeah, that one sounds like it doesn't really exist. That's the end of the list.
Well, that's a good list. All right, let's do some listener
That was a pretty good
questions.
Just one more thing I want to put. Peter, Jay, you live with your girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Peter, you live alone? Do
Yeah.
you know what the great thing about living alone right now is?
No people?
Many things, numerous
So-
things.
Yeah.
I'm going to say one of the great things that is if you say, I don't know, have a mild cold, very mild, not COVID, just a mild cold, your significant other that you don't live with, or I guess like your significant other is not going to make you wear a mask around the house. I fucking have to wear a mask around the house right now. And my wife is just like, hey, you know what? Like, I don't know why we haven't been doing this all along. Anytime anyone gets sick, we should just have them wear a mask. I'm wearing a fucking mask for the rest of my goddamn
Wow.
life in our house when I'm sick
Oh my-
because of this fucking COVID thing. I'm walking around wearing a mask all day. My kids are like, why are you wearing a mask? Because mommy's fucking crazy. That's why I'm wearing a
Oh
mask.
my God.
Then I'm like,
Oh my
my kids were off from school today. I'm like, hey, I said to my daughter, you want to go for a bike ride? My wife's like, you can't do that. I'm like, why? I'll wear a mask outside. She's like, yeah, but people are going to see you in a mask. They're going to go, what's wrong? Why are you wearing a mask? I'm like, because fucking COVID's a thing. They'll think you have COVID. And I don't want to explain to everyone that you don't have COVID, but you have a mask.
Does
She's
nobody in
obsessed-
your neighborhood wear a mask? Like, I step outside and
People do, but not as much around here. Because you're all also kind of distanced when you're outside. If you're riding a bike around here, people aren't usually wearing a mask. I mean, it really is much more distance than like the city. But she's just convinced that like people will assume we have COVID, and then like my kids won't be able to go to school anymore. And she's like, also, if they get sick from you, even if they just have a cold, they can't go to school for 2 weeks. She's like, I'm fucking busy with work. This is stressful enough without having the kids home because of COVID that they don't have
Mhm.
because you could wear a fucking mask around them. Anyway, I'm wearing a mask in the house. Now I basically am quarantined to like either the office area or I'm down in the basement where I don't have to wear a mask. But I have a mask in my pocket for when I go back up the fucking stairs.
If you're quarantined, can we start doing the show at 7?
I thought that. I was going to ask. I actually thought about that tonight, but then I was like, Peter's coming on. He's in the central time zone, whatever. But I won't be quarantined by the time we record next. But
Well-
yeah, I'm basically like, not that I get sick that often, but I feel like for the next 20 fucking years, I'm going to get sick. My wife's be like, wear a mask. I'm like, you're still fucking wearing masks. COVID's been over for 8 years. We stop fucking wearing masks.
Lorenzo
Wow.
writes, hey guys, which do you think there's more of in the world? A, male college professors receiving blowjobs in exchange for better grades, or B, male landlords receiving blowjobs in exchange for lower to no rent?
Incredible question.
And
That is a real. Oof.
and
You know,
which
I'm gonna have to do a study and just count on Pornhub to see which one's correct.
and if
which
you could
one has a higher
only
number.
pick one, which would you choose?
Which are you more likely to be in that scenario?
So I'm going to say there's more professors because giving better grades is a lot less of an act than losing out on thousands of dollars for one blowjob.
I also think there's like that thing of power the professor has over the student, where like
So-
she might actually want to do this beyond just getting the grade, whereas the landlord, that's some desperate times.
Well, think
So-
of
so
how many
guys-
times you're in contact with a attractive woman as opposed to like maybe you own an apartment building and you're only in contact with like 6 families or something.
Okay, just hang on. Peter wants to talk. He before the show he was blowing his landlord. Go.
Well, yes, I was going to say I have some relevant personal experience in this, but alas, it's not that, and it would be very difficult because my
really
landlord's
hoping-
my landlord's a woman as well, so it'd be quite challenging. But I mean, maybe interesting. But I am actually an adjunct professor, so I have some direct experience in being a professor, and I definitely think the answer to the question is landlord is definitely more likely than
Oh,
professor.
oh God, I was so beat.
No grade is worth like that. No like one grade. Like maybe if you have a professor like for every class, like, and they can guide your whole future, but like, is it really worth like a single grade? It's just not valuable. But now shelter, you actually need shelter. And if you can't pay, and that's a way to pay, that's a lot more valuable.
That's all fair. So I have a question. So how long you been an adjunct professor? I want to try to ruin your life with this question.
Like 4 years. But
Okay.
I've done a lot of teaching before that too.
Okay. So have you ever had a student who has come on to you? Not that you've acted on it. I don't want to, like, I'm not like, but I'm just curious. Has you ever had, like, you are in a position of power, you might have some attractive students, or not attractive, who knows? Or maybe some dudes that came on to you. But has any student ever, like, kind of come on to you? Like
Yeah.
Not that you acted on it.
No, well, there was a student who, when that person was a student, like, we had a perfectly fine, friendly relationship. And then that student graduated and like began a career as just like an individual, person with no connection to me or the school. And like, we like dated briefly. But that's the only thing that I could think of. But in like the student professor realm, like, no, I mean, and if she did come on to me, I definitely didn't notice. Like I don't even like perceive students that way. Like, of course I could say like, oh, that person's like beautiful or whatever. But no, my radar is just like totally zeroed in that sense.
I just feel like there's way more opportunity and chances for it to happen for teachers as opposed to landlords.
Like, how often are you in the landlord? It's also like, it just seems like that's going to be a really bad, like, really pathetic situation when they're trying to like not get out, like trying to like not get kicked out of their apartment. And he's like, okay, I'll take 12 blowjobs.
Yeah, but you know what though? It's like it's almost like a guaranteed thing. You know what I mean? Like a landlord who puts themselves out there for that, they're either going to get it or they're not. And if they're not, they still have all the power. Like, what are you going to do as like the landlord? Like send a letter to the condo board, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but that's a really expensive blowjob.
Your Honor, I offered to have her blow me. She said no. Hence the eviction. Okay, Your Honor, kick her out, please.
Like, you can get a high-end escort for like half the price of like 1 month's rent. Like, I don't get why. What's the incentive for the landlord?
Probably to make it like a regular thing. Power. And it's probably a lot safer than a random escort, and probably something that you've coveted for a while. All
right. Well, which one would you choose if you had to choose one?
To be one?
Yeah.
Professor, I'm already there.
Yeah, I would choose professor too. I feel like you'd have much more attractive opportunities there.
And it would feel more. Yeah, that's actually a really good thing. You have way more choice than like the person who happened to rent your place.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, like, in the professor dynamic, you could, in theory, like easily kind of fool yourself or make yourself think that, oh, it's not about the power. It's because she likes me.
I feel like also if you're a professor, I'm assuming like forget high school. Like you're like the kids are all already 18 or a student. Like you're like worst case you're losing your job with some shame. I feel like with the whole landlord thing, you're probably going to jail.
You think so?
I think yeah. I think a landlord and you say you have to blow me if you want to stay in the place. I think somehow that's some kind of extortion or like I don't know, maybe some version of rape. I'm guessing you're going to jail on this one.
Yeah, I agree. It is funny though to think of someone just being like, this was just an exchange for services. It's like, come on. But that's a good question though.
Yeah. Thank you, Lorenzo. Facebook questions?
I have a question for you guys. What state do you think gave the most? It's actually what county, but you're not gonna be able to guess the county. In what state do you think they gave the highest percentage of votes for? Okay, in what state is there the county that had the highest percentage of votes for Kanye West? He ran for president, by the way.
Yeah.
Indiana.
No, not Indiana. So one state? Okay, I'll tell you. This
Florida?
County,
Somewhere in Florida?
It's not Florida. So this county in this state because you'll never get the county. 75% of the 95% of the population in this county is white, and Trump won this county by 75%.
Montana, Wyoming,
Tennessee. 1%
wow.
of 1% of all ballots cast in Houston County in Tennessee went for Kanye West.
Damn,
that's weird.
Thought that was
God
a good
bless
fact
him.
for all our listeners.
Next time, Yeezy. Next time we'll get them.
All right, let's do Facebook questions.
Do you want to quickly do our? I don't have that left. Do you want to quickly do our list, our top 5?
If we could do it quick, yeah.
Okay. Okay. What was the top 5? Top 5 takeaways from 2021. Sorry, 2020. I don't know how.
2021. I'd like to know about those.
First takeaway. Good thing it's not 2020.
Second takeaway.
Yeah.
Time machines are real.
Jay came up with this topic. I thought it was a good one, but I don't think I got the best list on this one. So, Jay, why don't you start?
All right. Have you ever seen the movie I Am Legend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my takeaway is that if you remove the vampires, I could totally live in that universe. I mean,
if you remove the vampires, isn't he just by himself?
Yeah. I could totally do that forever.
Okay, you could be the last man on Earth, basically.
Yeah.
Is that your
couldn't care less. Give me some books and a PlayStation.
You need to reference a Will Smith movie just to say you were the last person on Earth?
Yeah.
Okay. you know the show Walking Dead? I could totally mix there, except for no dead or other people. You know the show Perfect Strangers? Well, Balky or the rest of society doesn't exist.
All right, next.
Yeah, you there, dude.
I was gonna say, 2020 is the one year where it's impossible not to be a hypocrite because the rules are so fucking confusing. At some point in the pandemic, everything's locked down, and we see these assholes out there with guns and making protests, being like, "We need to protest. Everything needs to be everything needs to be opened up. No more locking down." And people are gathering, and you're like, "Guys, this is how we spread COVID. You cannot be out there protesting." Oh wait, what? George Floyd was killed? Let's get out there and protest. Yeah. So this what you protest for? It's all the same thing, I guess, because they're all gathering and we're all hypocrites. I don't know.
Peter?
I'm not disagreeing with the George Floyd. I'm just saying, it's just they're all the same kind of.
So,
yeah.
Mark,
yeah.
when did you first discover that you hated black people this much? Was it around episode 310 or earlier? Because that's where I place. I'm just teasing.
I just found it funny because it was just at some moment you were like, "Oh, this protest is okay, but this protest is not okay." If they're all generally the same idea of gatherings we're not supposed to do, then yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think the anti-lockdown people were they were like, lockdowns are taking our rights, and it's like, no, they're not. You're idiots, and this is stupid, and you're just making things more stupid. And at least with the Floyd stuff, obviously, as we all recognize, it's a better reason to protest, but also it's outdoors. Most of the people are wearing masks, so it's a much lower, but still, you're right. It's a vastly spreading the disease. We need everyone to just sit the hell at home for 6 weeks, and this would literally be gone. But everyone's a dumbass.
Hey, I have a question for you. You've had an issue with the cops before. We talked about it in the previous show.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of? So a family member and we talk politics a lot, and we're both generally very happy Biden won. I'm much more the Bernie Sanders crowd, much more liberal. He's more middle of the road, more of a Biden Democrat. And he thinks the Democrats underperformed partly because of dumb messaging on things. And particularly, he points out the whole defund the police. He thought that was, not that he disagrees with the protests or anything. He just said calling it defund the police was the fucking dumbest message and so easily exploited by the Republicans. What do you think of, not what they were trying to accomplish, but what do you think of that message, defund the police, that phrase? I
think it's easy for people to hear it and think it means abolish police, but that's what abolish police means, you know?
Right.
So, but if I were talking to that colleague of yours, like the Democrats did not message around that at all. Like the mainstream Democratic Party people, like they all ran on super like conservative, moderate, like, hey, we're not socialists, blah, blah. Like they were vociferous, like they had huge campaigns distancing themselves from all that stuff, which is actually the reason they underperformed. All the people who had voted for and supported like Medicare for all, you know, Black Lives Matter stuff, won re-election. Like all of them won. And frankly, the reason Biden is president probably is because defund the police people openly were in Michigan and increased the turnout like significantly, Rashida Tlaib, and Minnesota, which increased the turnout tremendously. Like there were huge surges in both those, in Minneapolis and Detroit, that got Biden over the hump. So like the Democrats sucked and failed because the Democrats suck and fail. Like there is no messaging. Like what the hell is Biden's like signature plan, guys? Like
I think his signature plan was to let's get rid of the orange guy.
I'm not going to get rid of fracking. I never said that. Fracking's okay. Don't misquote me. It's like there is no message. So, you know, people who vote for Trump, I don't think they're all like racists or shitheads or assholes or whatever. Like reasonable people could do it because there is no like meaningful option.
Mm-hmm.
Just like there's nothing.
I want to just like in the election, like there's someone, Trump is contesting the election. Is Trump here on this call? Could he speak up a little bit?
No.
No, what?
Wrong. I'm busy.
Wrong?
I'm busy at the Four Seasons.
Total landscaping.
Total landscaping.
Between a dildo factory and adult bookstore.
Fine establishment.
Crematorium.
Fine establishment.
Crematorium, my bad.
They were very nice to me. Fine establishment.
Why do you say the election was stolen?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that I'm the most popular president in the history of presidents, and there's no way I could lose.
Well, the other guy, Biden, got more votes.
Wrong. All dead people. Biden got 7 votes. All the rest are dead people. I'll prove it.
Wait, you saying 74 million dead people voted for Biden?
A lot of dead people out there.
Well, there are a lot of most of humankind is in history is all dead. But
you just proved my point. Thank you, Trump 2020.
I don't, Peter. You got anything here? I think you might be right.
I'm with him. I'm convinced.
I have all the evidence.
What's your evidence?
You'll see it.
I know you said that a bunch of times, but like, don't you have to actually produce evidence to overturn this?
Yeah, but it's under audit.
Your evidence is under audit?
It is. You'll see it when the audit's over.
But how are you going to prove your case if you don't ever show your evidence?
I will show it when the audit's over.
Is the audit going to end before January 20th?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you have a timeline on this?
We got fine people working on it.
Okay.
I have the best auditors in the history of auditing.
Oh, I didn't know there was a ranking system.
There is. I have it. I'll show you that too when that's done being audited.
Any truth to the rumor that Melania's gone as soon as this is over?
Which one?
What do you mean, which one?
Never mind. You didn't hear that. She's here. She's right next to me. She just doesn't want to talk.
Are you going to if any reason this election is officially stolen from you, are you going to run again in 2024, or is one of your children going to run?
We don't even have to worry about that. Trump 2020.
Okay, but you know what? Like, Biden has more votes. Like, the media has called that Biden's the winner.
Until they find out they're all dead.
A lot of people voted. I don't understand. They got mailed. The dead people were
voted
mailing
for me.
in ballots.
They all voted for me. All the mail-in ballots are fake too. I have proof.
Oh, okay.
Post office is corrupt. Mainstream media is corrupt. Everything's corrupt. Every vote's fake except the ones that say Trump.
I agree with him on that.
Do you think it's? I guess, Mr. Trump, is it unfair that voters are allowed to not vote for you?
I mean, yeah, it shouldn't even be allowed to not vote for me. Any
truth also that Deutsche Bank is going to call your $400 million in loans due right after you're out of the office? Is that why you're fighting this?
Very nasty question. That's a mean question.
Okay.
I agree. Nasty as hell.
Andrew writes, would Jay vote for Larry Bird to become president if he was a Republican?
Probably, yeah.
Wait,
Jay,
you guys only did your only one of your 5 takeaways. And I didn't even do mine at all.
Peter, what's yours?
Okay, first one is all cities need a lot more like giant green spaces and way fewer buildings. They're just like, they look like dead garbage, like steel blocks that suck now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
Mr. Trump, do you think should we have more parks or more buildings with your name on it?
Parks are just, you can't make money from that.
Okay, well, Peter, I mean, like he says that you can't make money that way, so sorry.
Well, next time.
Jay, what's your next one?
Somehow I lost 2 hours a day. So I don't commute anymore, and I spent an hour each way commuting, but I am not getting anything else done, and I don't know where those 2 hours went.
So that guy who's researching time travel should have come to you because you figured out time travel. You just used it in the worst possible way, just like a 2-hour time jump.
Yeah, I jump forward an hour twice a day and get nothing accomplished. Yeah, it's not very good.
Not a great use of time travel.
No.
Dude, Jay, I gotta get my second one in because ahead of Marc's just because it's so tied to what you just said, which is lack of free time is not the reason I have not achieved the success and fulfillment I feel I should have already achieved.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's basically exactly the same thing.
I'm not making progress in like the video games I'm playing, the books I'm reading. Like, I don't know where the extra 2 hours went.
You know, when people are like I would do all this stuff if I had the free time. Well, here it is. Okay, fine. Yep. Fuck you. I wasn't going to do it to begin with.
Yeah.
So my number 2 is I'm pretty sure if my kids keep going to school, I can probably work from home forever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to go back into the office. I maybe once a week or once every other week. I'm cool with just working from home.
Me too.
You guys?
Oh, I would never go back to work. Yeah.
My number 3, very closely tied to that. Nearly every single office job can be done 100% outside of the office.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Like I don't even know why like they'll say like you're working in like you get a job. They don't need to say like you're working in New York. You'd be like, I'm gonna work wherever the fuck I want. Does it really matter?
Yeah, I started applying to jobs in Connecticut and Philly, like, you know, figuring everybody's doing remote.
Yeah, what's the difference?
It could totally. I mean, this is the way it should have been like a decade ago, but I'll take it because it totally democratizes and just like makes it easy. Like you get a job wherever the hell you want, as long as you can be effective wherever the hell you are.
Yeah.
Like they don't.
Yeah. Jay, what's your next one?
I realized that I can do without sports. I spent a lot of time watching sports, but when it's not on, I don't really miss it at all. Like I enjoyed the NBA playoffs, but now that it's over, I don't really care.
I like sports, but yeah, I care a little less about sports than I did before, I find, overall. Though I am super excited about the Mets and Stevie Cohen.
I think the 6-month gap without any sports made me realize like how much time I spend on it and how much joy I get, and the ratio is way off.
Peter, what's your next one?
The Knicks being, I was just going to say the Knicks being supremely terrible has made me realize I don't really care about basketball as much as I thought I did for a very long time.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
The Knicks are basically just a dark, a dark hole chasm for happiness.
Yeah.
They're worse than the Jets.
Goes to die. Yeah. I don't know.
The sadness of their, I don't know, man. Like the Knicks, it's like, the Knicks at least like flirted with greatness briefly, and like so we tasted that, we tasted it, and then just bitter poison every other year.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets and the Knicks are so unbelievably awful and hopeless right now. But on the positive, the Mets, I have I have not been this enthusiastic and this excited about the Mets in such a long time because they have a new owner and there's like a really bright future. But man, just as excited I am about and optimistic about the Mets future, I am so pessimistic about the Knicks and the Jets. Today I just got bored. I was arguing with someone on Twitter about the Knicks, and they're like, well, the Knicks need to like leave cap space open because Giannis and Kawhi are gonna sign here. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're not gonna sign here. Stop it. And he's like, you can't rebuild in New York. I'm like, yeah, because assholes like you say that. You can totally rebuild in New York. It's complete. Like, we've not been rebuilding in New York for the last 20 years, and it's fucking sucked.
Dude, those are straight up the like carpetbagger fans. Like, those are people who haven't, are just sort of like not people who've been through this exact discussion and argument a 100,000 times and seen that like we've tried the same thing every single time, the same bullshit excuses. Oh, New York market, bro, you have to be good immediately. It's like, okay, cool. Let's just keep trying the thing that like maybe one year we'll like, I don't know, make the playoffs or something. And then who knows after that, another 50 years, we might make the semifinals. It's like, God damn, just
like, you're right. That's what it comes down to is that like, they've been a Knicks fan for a half hour. They've not actually been a Knicks fan that long. They don't fucking know how terrible this and that what they're saying has been said over and over and over again. This good person wrote, he goes, I forget, not giving the whole like tweet thread or anything, but like he's like, I disagree. Both teams in the finals this year were borderline playoff teams. Knicks just have to be in position. I don't care this negative outlook of the past. This isn't Steve Mills' teams anymore. This is the biggest market, regardless of the past. Dolan will spend. And the last part, Dolan will spend, there's a salary cap. Literally everyone has a floor where they have to spend. It's just, I'm just like, I could be arguing with a 6-year-old for all I know, really.
I wish they just like, I mean, I would love to have like, just make Pat Riley the president of operations, the general manager, the coach, just like give him control for like, I don't know, 3 years and let him just like beat the shit out of everyone and, recreate some semblance of a successful like team, because it's incompetence at every single organizational level.
Every level.
It's like comprehensive.
So other takeaways from 2020, there's no way that could be controversial. Will never be something I say again. I mean, the shit we're arguing over is so You know what? I was watching John Oliver right before the election. He did a whole like COVID thing, and he played the clip of the first time, because obviously at the beginning they were like, "Don't wear masks. Maybe you should. Don't." The first press conference where they introduced and they said to the American people, masks are good. You need to wear masks. And Trump went up there and goes, I'm not going to wear one. I don't think you really need to, but you could. I mean, maybe you should. I don't know. I'm not going to wear one.
People are saying it's not necessary.
And you're just like, holy fuck. Jay, what's your next?
Oh, God.
Yeah, mine is that a lot of people post about politics and say they're into politics, but they really don't want to have a discussion. They just want an echo chamber and a sounding board, and it's kind of frustrating that nobody wants to even hear anybody else's opinion.
Do you want to know why? Honestly, my theory about all this is that like America has a very like low sort of culture. Like we don't have, we're a young country and we're like so mixed and stuff that there's no real like culture. So
it's selfish. It's a selfish culture. Yeah.
It's politics has kind of become culture. It's almost become like sports, like sportified. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, it's like when you argue with me about like, oh, the Celtics are, well, actually there is no argument. The Celtics are a vastly superior organization to the Knicks, but like Celtics organization is superior to the Lakers organization. Like there's no like logical truth to, you can make whatever argument you want and you could just have an entrenched view. Like, no, you're not going to convince me the Lakers are the best basketball organization in the NBA, period. That's what it's become like with politics. It's like, no, you're not going to convince me that Donald Trump did anything bad, or, you're not going to convince me that like, the libs, the liberals out there did anything, bad. It's been totally sportified and it has become our culture.
Yeah.
It's so hard to talk about anything else.
You're also not supposed to be a fan of politicians. Right. You don't go to Canada and see people wearing like Trudeau shirts. Like
exactly.
It's weird.
Dude,
it's weird.
You don't go anywhere and hear any if you've been lucky enough to go abroad and like attend a sporting event abroad, like they never play their national anthem for a domestic match. It's like we're in like England. There are two English soccer teams about to play. We don't need to be reminded that God must save the Queen with like a 2.5 minute thing. Yeah. I'm not going to get confused and think what country is that team from? It's like, it's an English league. We're in England, but in every damn American sport, we like the New York Yankees against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, let's not start until we salute our country.
And if you don't do it the way we like, then we're going to get angry too.
What sport are the Yankees playing the Buccaneers in? I'm just curious.
Sorry. Sorry.
Also, just to point out, when the Yankees play, or really any baseball team, it's the World Series. So that's why they got to play the national anthem. It's a world title that only America and one team from Canada is allowed to compete in.
Total fair point. My next one is mostly nothing happens. Otherwise, the worst thing that can happen almost always happens.
Yeah. Remember when we were like, man, this is the year we're gonna all remember that Kobe Bryant died.
Oh my God. Yo, COVID.
Hey, can I ask you guys on a side note? Are you, and I don't know the rules on this, you guys might know social media better than I do. Are you allowed to quit Facebook without writing on your Facebook page, I'm quitting Facebook?
No. You're not allowed to do anything without posting that you're doing it.
Wait, do people do that now?
Yeah, I read today. Like someone, I know who this person is, and they actually are like a Trumper. I don't know if I don't know if they were doing it because of that or what but they said, I'm quitting Facebook. And I'm like, do you go back on to see the comments and the likes for your quitting Facebook? If you didn't announce it, would people be like, I don't know, I haven't seen Jennifer in a long time. I think something might have happened to her. Oh, does she live? No. I haven't seen her on Facebook in a long time. You guys want to send the police over to check on her?
I've seen that 6 or 7 times.
Are they like trying to get like,
attention? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, they want to see the response of people that they want people to see the fact that they are quitting Facebook. I'm sure they read all the responses. All it means is they're not going to comment for a half hour, and then they'll be back on Facebook. And then they'll have a post about, I haven't been on Facebook for 7 days. What happened? What did I miss on social media? Oh my God, look at me. I went without Facebook for 7 days. Aren't I amazing?
I think it's more, if somebody wants to keep in touch, they'll know to like text you or something.
I don't know. I don't. Is it when you keep in touch with through Facebook only? Not like Messenger or like just through posting on Facebook. Is that how you keep in touch with anyone?
I know people who do who the Peace Corps and like studied abroad and stuff in like poor countries. Like in a lot of poor countries, like specifically in Central and South America, like Facebook is synonymous with the internet. Like when you go to an internet cafe, like it just opens to Facebook. People like run everything. That's their like email. That's how they read news. That's how they consume everything, photos, like how they book vacations. So like, unfortunately, really deeply, unfortunately, it's so embedded in some places. It's like the only way to keep in touch.
Yeah. There's a lot of people I keep in touch with only through Facebook.
By the way, this portion of the show was sponsored by a Mark Zuckerberg masturbation session. Go on.
I have another one, takeaway from 2020, which is, I went into 2020 not feeling too hot on capitalism at all, thinking it's pretty terrible. But like, I think if you're a reasonable, thoughtful person, you can't walk away from 2020 and not conclude that capitalism isn't just terrible. It is like just absurdly evil and has to be destroyed. I don't really know what replaces it, but like this system cannot, like it's destroying everything, literally. Like,
Peter, I will not have you going on our show and talk bad about people losing health care because they can't afford it during a pandemic. You're an asshole.
I know. Sorry to raise such a controversial point.
I have to say, like, I more so than any other portion of my life have I really just recognized how much of a bubble I live in. Yeah. That's one of my takeaways. I don't know if you guys. I feel like I barely leave my house anymore. Like I'll see people in the general neighborhood. I don't leave my neighborhood for like a week at a time. Like a morning run is the most I leave my neighborhood, and you basically like we're really insulated. We're in a nice neighborhood. There is like very little crime. There's not much COVID around here. Like everyone's like doing generally fine. Like I'm basically in a goddamn bubble over here, and it's just weird. And I talk to other people, and everyone's in their own little bubble, basically. Like whatever they're doing. Like Jay, like has an outdoor outfit he has to wear to go outside, and he just goes to the laundry shop once a week, and that's it. And he lives in this, right, Jay? You never go outside.
Pretty much.
I noticed everyone's just Peter. You feel like you're in a bubble now?
Yeah. I mean, Jay's earlier I Am Legend point, even though we gave him grief for it, like I get it, and I mean. You learn that you could be in a bubble and, be totally fine. Like you learn that dining in at restaurants is pretty much completely an unnecessary thing for more or less anyone, I guess, except the homeless who probably don't dine in much anyway. Like, if you have a home to eat in and the restaurant serves food, like you can get it and go eat in that, in that home. Like just a lot of the stuff that we thought was sort of essential to our, contentment or whatever is just complete meaningless garbage that you could replace with anything.
I mean, it's kind of like I'm in the show I Love Lucy, except for like Lucy and all those characters are not in the show. It's not in black and white. I'm living in my house, and none of that's part of it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you used that because if it weren't I Love Lucy, I wouldn't have understood your meaning. But with that specific world building, you really cast a very clear picture for everyone.
Jake, can we do this on every episode?
Do what?
Just talk about different shows that we'd be on or movies we'd be on with they're nothing like It's like Lord of the Rings, except for instead of searching for the ring, I'm watching shows on Netflix. It's almost the exact same thing.
Oh man.
So my last one.
Yeah.
I'm sure you saw the video of that guy who was on a skateboard drinking cranberry juice to the Fleetwood Mac song.
Yeah.
And it got like hundreds of millions of views, and actually Mick Fleetwood did a version of it, and there's all these copycat versions and everything. It made me realize that I don't understand popular culture at all. I don't get the appeal of it. I don't understand it, and I feel that way about most trends or things that go viral. I just don't understand it.
I would agree with that. Nope. This really year has really taught me that I don't understand popular culture at all.
Yeah. That video I didn't get. I went on Twitter the day it came out, and I saw like 5 or 6 different people post it. And I was just like, I don't understand. Why is anybody enjoying this? I don't get it.
No one's yet to explain to me why this is even a thing. I don't my last one is that
I thought I must have been thinking about something else. I'll have to look that up.
Oh, they now like a national TV commercial also.
Yeah.
But if it's a commercial for TikTok though, I think, right? My last one, actually, I did use the world of The Walking Dead. I said I realized that if we were living in the world of The Walking Dead, the zombies that were walking around everywhere, at least half the population would say it's a hoax. And those aren't real zombies; they're just tired people.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your last one?
My last one is just that it is. I mean, people will believe whatever they want to believe. Like, and people have become, including people I like care about and love, like just immune to facts. Like, it's like literal immunity to factual information. And it's a very like weird position to be in, to have to explain to your uncle, like, I don't know, that Obama didn't marry like a man or something, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's similar to the one I had before. And I have family members where like they'll believe literally anything if it's anti-Democrat, and they will deny anything that's anti-Republican. It's amazing. You can prove it 8 different ways, and they're just like, no, that is not true.
So I guess this part of this conversation was off the show before we started, but it's basically the idea of like there's no arbiter of the truth anymore. There's no central facts for anything. So now everything's just out of control. With the age of no more, it's just like before. The one thing you'd rely on would be everyone generally trusted the media. So if the media said it was not true, it's fine. But now that the referee, basically the media, is broken, or they've been broken by like the Trump and this new world, fuck.
Well, I mean, I think in some weird way, like, I don't know if we'll owe Trump any debt of gratitude, but one thing that he has made like really, really clear is that the media, I mean, is like in every direction is just insanely, like absurdly fake and just biased in every possible way.
Yeah.
Like they're clearly directing outcomes. Like they directed the outcome
Right.
against Bernie Sanders. They directed the whole, like they inflamed the whole Russia thing, even though there wasn't too much there. Obviously, Iraq, they sent us, they bought like consent for this bullshit nonsense war. They're totally in control of everything. And one thing Trump made very, very clear is just like how much they are willing to drive, in the direction that they want to drive people towards.
Yeah, can't argue with
The
that.
media, the media is biased towards power. That's pretty much it. And anyone as crazy as like you would say the QAnon people are, like it's pretty well documented at this point that the media basically like lied to us in some way about the Iraq war and just like let us all go to like let this war happen.
Yeah.
And there's so many examples in history where the media basically has just lied about shit that like who the hell even knows anymore.
Well, it's funny when you think about the QAnon conspiracy, like, and you describe it to someone, it's like, okay, it's that there's this like cabal of people who are, eating and sucking the blood and the chemicals out of, children and babies at their most frightened moment to achieve like eternal longevity and such. And they are working with mole people to transfer kids, and Trump's going to bring this thing down. When you actually like look at it and you sort of take it and deconstruct it, in some ways there's like an element of truth, right? Like powerful people are like basically raping and exploiting like the innocence of like the planet and all of us, and just like Dracula style, just like sucking the life force out of everything. And, that whole thing is enabled by this weird network of like media and politics and power. So in some ways, and I mean, obviously QAnon people are bananas, but like in some ways you could almost see the psychological, like the weird pathology that these people might have, like what they sense, the weird injustice and the like weird, like power stuff is like, right. But they have to graft these weird, like mythological, goblin, like, thing layer on top of it for their brains to even make sense of it. Like they have to make these guys like actual blood sucking monsters. They have to like make them that. So it's a weird time because, there is some truth to the actual, what is actually happening.
Yeah.
Right. Everything's always built on a little bit of truth. And you're like, even if you said like, that's crazy, a giant pedophile. Well, there was Jeffrey Epstein. You're like, okay, well, there was that. So it's all built on some like little bits of truth. And then everything else is. Andrew writes, who do you think will be the next celebrity to go for president?
I think it's going to be a dual ticket, The Rock and Oprah.
You voted for The Rock and Oprah?
No.
Oh, hell yeah. I would vote for them for sure. But I think like realistically, I'm terrified to say like that dipshit Tucker Carlson.
Really?
You think so?
Yeah. He's been recruited like and courted by Republicans for a long time, even when he was back in CNN with his like bow tie on Crossfire with that Creole clown James Carville, that guy. I don't know how what grave they exhume him from for his MSNBC appearances here and there, but that guy's got but yeah, they've always been going after Tucker Carlson, and that guy's way more of a celebrity than most other like fringy celebrities who would do a run.
I guess the one thing I'd say, Tucker Carlson has this kind of like air about him that he looks like a quote unquote pansy. Like he doesn't have anything. Not that Trump is tough, but Trump spent all those years basically working with construction, like or working in real estate, where like he knew how to talk the talk, and he's not a tough person, but like he at least can somewhat sound a little tougher. I feel like you have to win that audience. You have to sound a little tougher.
Have you when was the last time you watched Tucker Carlson?
Not been for a while. No.
Jay?
I've seen just sound bites.
Yeah.
So
I've seen sound bites. Yeah.
I've watched like dozens of hours. Like I'm just kind of like curious. I'm intrigued what this phenomenon is that, attracts like tens of millions of viewers like daily, and like what this guy is spewing. So throughout the pandemic, I've been tuning in like, almost once or twice a week just to watch him, especially if there's been like an important event like the Kyle, that asshole guy who killed 2 people in Wisconsin, different election things, like just to kind of read his pulse. I get what you mean about like the pansy thing. That is not the case in his like followers' eyes. Like he has a lot of like white nationalist followers, like really, really, very tough, serious, crazy people really are into the guy. And he is looked at as like their kind of leader in a lot of ways. And it's kind of funny because Carlson, like Trump, is an immensely super wealthy, like aristocrat. Like he's an heir to hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, but somehow he's able to affect this weird power and force. And he filled the gap that like, O'Reilly, I guess, left and just went way, way, way to the right. Like one of his staffers got fired recently because he was outed as someone who is like a very active Nazi propagandist on like Reddit.
So here's the question. Do you think the lesson for like someone like Tucker Carlson, he sees this, is the lesson almost that like you shouldn't run for office? Because like Trump, obviously very popular in some regard, but he's also extremely hated. At some point you lose an election, you have to go away, or you're forced to go away eventually. Like, whereas you just stay in his role, you make $20 million a year, they love you, and they keep talking about you running for stuff, but like you could be a mouthpiece, you could be like a Rush Limbaugh without ever having to like never being challenged, basically.
I guarantee you 100% he will run for president. I guarantee it.
Really?
With beyond a shadow of a doubt, because people like that, it's never enough. It's never enough. He comes from immense money. He's being paid immensely. He has like the adoration and, the adulation of all these lunatics, but it's not enough. Like eventually the guy is going to think like, I could take this next step. And he's much smarter than Trump, much more like savvy in some ways than Trump. And he's much more capable of being polished than Trump. He's going to see it and he's going to say like, you know what, like I could do that. I was way smarter than that guy. And I have none of his dumb liabilities. Like I'm going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to say, I know how to play this game. And he's seen it, right? Like he's seen it up close and personal. He sees how frail the system is and how easily it's exploited. Like, so eventually I think he's going to find that call irresistible. And, he would love it if it would be up against someone like AOC, because he's also into the drama and the spectacle of it. And, he's kind of like this new type of Republican proto-fascist-y type dude who it's not going to be, he will not be able to resist it. I'd bet any amount of money.
Great. I'm very excited for that administration. That'll be really fun for us.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting one for sure.
And Andrew's last question. Were Trump's election reaction tweets the most insane thing ever?
No.
When Trump said, I think we're looking good in Georgia, or whatever the shit he said, basically. Like, he's like, I claim Pennsylvania.
I mean, it was like some 2 + 2 is 5 shit, but it like not at all. He's been telling us for months leading up to this that he would not accept the election results, and he'd be like, we'll have to see. He's been telling us the mail ballots are, I don't know, dead people sent them. So for me, I was like ready for this, dumb soft coup, and he's just using it to raise money. Like, I'm not worried. I don't know. Are you guys like worried at all?
Not really.
So here, I read this article pretty recently by, David Sirota?
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah. So he wrote this article. Basically, it was like, listen, Democrats are not worried enough. Like, the Republicans have a real strategy here. We're basically just like, oh, it'll never happen. Don't worry about it. We're all very calm. This is a war. You really need to be fucking paying attention. And he's like, what's going on here is, and obviously it doesn't have to happen this way, but basically all these lawsuits, all this challenge isn't about winning it in courts. It's about creating enough doubt in people's minds that you'll convince the state legislatures, like in Pennsylvania, to say, you know what, this election's a fraud. We don't need the Constitution does not bind us basically to appoint Biden electors. We'll appoint Trump electors and give Pennsylvania to Biden. And then the governor will say, because you have a Democrat governor, will say you can't do that.
Yeah, right.
And they'll look at the law, and the law says it's really the state representatives, not the governor, who has like the final say on this. And so you're really just relying on the elected officials, the Republicans in Pennsylvania and these other states, to just say, I don't want to basically end elections in America. What do you care more about? Our democracy moving forward or just having Trump? You're hoping they have some morals at all, but you never know. And so they can basically just say these,
There's no, I mean, like, how many times, like, that's the worst thing about, like, Democrats and liberals, which is, like, how many times they're like, surely, dear sir, you have some integrity, sir. And then the Republicans are like, nope, yoinks. It's like, oh, but surely this time you have integrity, sir. Like, please. It's like, nope, yoinks. And it's like, we've been going through this, not even just for, I mean, we've been going through this for like decades now, you know? Like, and they just never learn. Like, Democrats just seem unwilling to learn, or like they're so cool with just having the moral high ground that they're, also cool having zero success, like zero anything. But I'm worried the way Soroto described, like what you just said, like the Democrats should be developing a counter strategy. But the reason I'm not worried more broadly is like like the actual deep state that Trump always like freaks out about. It's funny, like there is a deep state. He's not wrong, but like it is the group of people, the super powerful people who have all the money, who control everything, including, the way the direction the country is going. Like those guys got what they needed. They got 6 people in the Supreme Court. I don't know if you guys follow like state elections, but like state legislatures across the country that were Republican and expected to flip remained Republican, meaning because it's a census year, 2020, they will redraw the congressional Republican state houses, will redraw and gerrymander the fuck out of every state so that they could entrench their power till the next census. And there's like, not much to fight for with respect to Trump. Like Trump was just a useful clown who, likes people cheering for him, and he's a great showman and a great like charlatan, and they just used his ass. But like, why would they jeopardize that? Why would they actually like do something to make the Democrats actually grow a spine, or like cause a real revolution to start, or cause like, the people to rise up? Like they've won comprehensively. Like, why would they risk it all for Trump? Like, they're just not worth it.
I agree with you. And kind of in fairness, like, what does our government actually pay attention to? The one thing that happens in our country that the government is all like hands on deck, we need to take action. It's not poor people going out it's not people losing their job. They don't take action on that. 10 million people are still unemployed. We're barely taking action on it. The one thing that happens in our country where our government really is like, we need to do something, is when the stock market drops. And this would, what do you say?
Yeah, you're totally right. That's
100%. If the stock market, this would cause the stock markets to collapse. If we do not, you'd basically say our elections don't matter anymore. You don't know where the country's going anymore. The stock market basically just like tanks on this. And they basically, the people with the money all step in and go, we can't do this. We have to have elections. We have to go back to our fake democracy, or else we're not going to have stock prices the way we want them.
Exactly. 100% right, man. I mean, and like Joe Biden is a gift. Like if Joe Biden, if this were Bernie Sanders, I could maybe say they might actually try to like do a coup, but like it's Joe Biden, a dude who's best remembered for wearing aviator sunglasses and eating ice cream and telling everyone nothing will change. Like, are you really going to sacrifice all your accomplishments for Donald Trump over Joe freaking Biden? Like, that makes no sense.
Yeah. What did we learn today? I think we should need to wrap this up. Jay, what did we learn? Jay, you still there?
Yeah, no, I'm falling asleep.
It's cool.
Yeah. We learned that these shows start too late, and I can't make it to the end without nodding off.
Anytime you guys want me on, if you want to start earlier, just let me know. If you're still suffering from a cold, Mark, when we happen to reconvene, just let me know. I can start whenever.
Yeah, no, I mean Jay would love to. It's all my my kids' fault. Goddamn kids. One day my kids will discover this podcast and they'll listen. They'll be like, "What the hell, Dad?" Like I always think about like my kids have no idea this podcast exists, and one day they will, and I wonder if they'll listen to all this shit and they'll be like, "What the hell's wrong with my dad? And why was he so obsessed with the pedophiles?"
Dude, do you know what a treasure trove this will be? Like, can you imagine finding all this content where your dad was like recording these episodes? Like, can you imagine how happy you'd be to find that?
Or embarrassed. We'll find out. I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, let us know in like a decade or so.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Peter. This was awesome.
Yeah,
I hope people didn't mind all the politics, but that was a great episode. You're always a pleasure to have on. Jay, thank you for staying kind of awake for part of the episode. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and check out our new Twitch channel, twitch.tv/crumpledbacon. And
Peter, do you know that we're starting a Twitch channel?
I was not aware, but I'm on Twitch a bunch as well, just watching stuff.
Yeah, so
I'll watch you guys.
Basically, Jay plays a video game, and he whacks off in the corner of the screen. It's a whole like thing to Toobin. So
that's incredible. Hey, Mark, you got a PS4 now. You can get Last of Us, and you can do a live Twitch playthrough of that. That would be awesome.
Can we do multiplayer is that something we could do? Like Jay, if you think I should buy Last of Us and we should do that one on Twitch, I'd buy it for that reason. Is that something we can do?
I mean, you really want to play the one-player mode, not the multiplayer.
Multiplayer is like we're trying to kill each other, running around a map.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, you could do one player and have the other person just commenting on it. I mean, you could do that too. But that is a conversation for...
Do you have Last of Us, Jay?
I do. I have both of them.
Do you want to replay it while I comment on it? And
that'd be awesome.
Would that be like incredible. A good show?
I think it would, yeah.
That'd be dope.
Do you want to play it from the beginning? Like, so that basically you'll play Last of Us. I'll watch it. You'll share the screen with me, and I can comment on what's going on as you're playing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you think that would work for a show?
Yeah, as long as we don't play like 2 hours after my bedtime.
Okay, but I can
only
Mark,
record. Would you play it though, Mark? Would you play it?
I mean, what's the difference if like Jay's playing it or I'm playing it?
Well, because Jay's played through it, and it would be, I'm sure, very interesting and amusing to see you master it.
So far, we've played 2 games. What games have we played so far, Jay? We played Rocket League and what was it, Broforce? Have you played those games?
I played Rocket League a couple times.
Yeah, it was okay. I have to say I'm surprisingly just not that into the video game so far.
But you got to play like one of these other ones that Jay's, I think.
Jay, would it be better? How do you think it would be better? Would it be better you playing Last of Us and me commenting, or I'm playing Last of Us and you're talking me through it? What makes more sense?
The second one is hilarious.
Jay, what do you think? Should we do that?
Depends how functional you're going to be.
How functional what?
You're going to be playing it. If you're going to be like walking into trees and like, you can't like do anything, then it's just going to be aggravating.
Yeah, you got to start it that way, though. You got to start it that way. That would be for just the comedy, Jay. You have to admit that would be maximally humorous.
We were playing this game, Broforce, and Jay and this other guy Jansen were on. They were just like, I just couldn't give a shit what we were going on and what was going on in the game. And they're like, you stop walking, you got to keep up with us. There was some kind of like slide where I just kept going up and down the slide.
Well, I mean, it's like you're all on the screen at the same time, and Mark would just stand in a corner and not move for like minutes.
Were you like reading the paper while this is? What were you doing?
I was trying to fix my sound. We've had some sound issues also. I guess we should probably fix the sound issue at some point. We were trying to fix it for our next show.
I'm going to bed.
The Last of Us thing. Do you think that, Jay? What would make more? So do you have to be good at the game to play Last of Us? I mean, the sense of like, I have no video game skills. And is it going to be a hard? What do you say?
It's a very low difficulty setting if you want. That's basically just like nothing kills you, and you're basically playing it for the, cinematic.
Story.
All right,
story.
we'll figure it out. I'm going to bed.
Okay.
I'm getting very cranky.
Okay, let's just talk about this for another 45 minutes till Jay actually drops down.
Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone.